on bond for an assault case that have taken off on us at least 3 different times, and now you've picked up a new case. You were charged with failure to identify oneself while being a fugitive from justice. On that case, you're now facing a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause.
On March 7, 2025, at approximately 4:44 p.m., an officer observed a vehicle with expired registration as of December 2024. A traffic stop was initiated. The officer made contact with the defendant. The driver is Daniel Escamilla, date of birth April 24th, 1998. The officer did a search and saw the defendant did not resemble the Texas driver's license that came up for Daniel Escamilla. The officer got a hit for David Escamilla, the defendant's real name, and saw there was an outstanding warrant. The Texas driver's license photo for David Escamilla resembled the defendant. The officer utilized mobile AFIS and confirmed that the defendant was David Escamilla. The defendant admitted to providing the officer with his twin brother's information instead of his own due to the open warrant.
Do you see if he has a license? Can you check, please?
Yeah, he's ineligible, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Escamilla, I'm going to have you sign an affidavit with me today. I don't give a rat's behind what is going on in your life. If you don't have a Texas driver license and liability insurance, you are not to drive. And if I find that you do, I can have a contempt fine every time you get into a car. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a lawyer, Mr. Escamilla?
No, sir.
I'm going to appoint you a lawyer today. Your assault case is 1,000 days old. We are going to figure out what happens with this case today. Can you appoint him a lawyer, please? If this case gets reset today, you will get an ankle monitor, and I'm going to send you for a drug test right now. I want to ensure that you're not using anything as well. You know what? Let's just do that now. Felicia, if you can send him, please. If you fail to take the test, if you fail to come back, I'm going to make your bond so high you'll have hair falling out. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The next time you take off on me and fail to come to court, so help me on those bonds. Do you understand?
Yes.
The Emperor is not as forgiving as I am.
Are you Ajay Gore?
Yes.
Did you understand the state has reduced your offense to assault, bodily injury, family, household? That's Class A misdemeanor. Range of punishment is up to a $4,000 fine and up to 1 year in the Bexar County Jail. Did you understand? According to the plea, punishments be assessed as 1 year in the Bexar County Jail. State recommends community supervision. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no harmful or injurious contact with the outside the plea bargain agreement. State is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 1 year. There be a TAP evaluation, anger management, and parenting classes. Then to the offense of assault, bodily injury, family, household as a Class A misdemeanor. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
And the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Judge.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Judge, we believe he's worthy of the plea bargain. We ask you to follow it regarding the classes that are requested by the state. He's already completed 2 different parenting classes through CPS and an anger management class through CPS.
All right.
And has been granted, he has been reunified with the child that is involved in this.
All right. And is that correct, State?
As far as I know, yes, John.
All right. And Mr. Gore, what have you learned from your parenting classes?
I know one thing, about it's a different time and age, about how to, handle kids. And I know one of the biggest things that I learned for this, which I've been telling a lot of guys, is, at the end of the day, the other parent, that's who it is. And y'all got to come to an agreement for the kid in order to, basically co-parenting. It's not, you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for the kid. And that's something that I've been working on, and it's been helping.
All right. People say that they realize that times have changed. And it's not so much that times have changed with parenting. It's just that people have learned.
And by learn, Vader means evolved, as people who bash their children because they get angry haven't evolved like the rest of us humans.
Better ways. And if you have a punishment for a child and the punishment is to clean the baseboards, then that's the punishment. Physical discipline rarely works. That physical discipline really teaches people is that might makes right.
See how Vader says hitting. So now we know it wasn't just a smack behind the ears.
And I always tell people when you are hitting on a child to correct them, guess what? If that wasn't a child and wasn't your child, if that was just some adult on the street and they didn't do what you told them to do and you hit on them,
And if you get your face smashed in by members of the public,
you'd be in court for that.
and I'd walk.
People assume that children don't have any rights, and technically they don't. But children are not property. And for some reason, people tend to want to teach their children, keep them as property. They're human beings, and they don't learn anything from you beating on them. Throughout my entire childhood, my mom would always sit down and just have a discussion about what you did wrong. In my entire childhood, I only got one spanking, and it was well deserved because I almost put my brother's eye out for doing something foolish that made no sense. And looking back on it, I'm like, Stephanie, why did you do that? Why were you riding a bicycle in the house? That made no sense whatsoever. But I say that to say, you don't teach children anything by hitting on them. The only thing you taught them really is, all right, when I have a child, I need to hit on them too. And some parents think fear is the best way to parent a child. And really it's not. And all this was over not buying a book at the book fair and instead buying candy. It happens. That's what children do. All right. 1 year in the Bexar County Jail, suspended and probated for 1 year. Affirmative finding of family violence, no harmful or injurious contact with. There'll be parenting classes and anger management. There's to be 80 hours of community service restitution, proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be 30 days of release. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Regular UAs, regular reporting by Zoom or in person. And we'll do a field visit 1 time per month for 3 months. If everything appears to be going well, then probation, you can do field visits as you deem necessary. And they want a TAP evaluation, so we'll do a TAP evaluation. Probation, is there anything else he needs?
I would love it if probation would just for once say that he needs to get a beating the same as he did to the kid, and then times that by a factor of 10.
Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful? All right, we can go off the record.
The name of the best court channel next to Phil's on YouTube.
All right, we can go off the record. You want children to love you because guess what? They'll come to you with whatever problems they have, or if they've done something wrong, they'll come to you. But if they're afraid of you, they're not going to come to you. You understand? I come to my mom for everything. She knows every single thing about my life. Charles can tell you that.
Very true.
All right. All right. Good luck to you.
Joseph Martin?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Martin, you have a total of 4 open cases. You're charged with 4 counts of assault. We're going to do probable cause.
On March 8th, 2025, officers were dispatched to 4527 Perry Street in Houston, Texas, in Harris County regarding an assault. The complainant, Hayes, stated that she was in a verbal argument with the defendant, and that led to her being pushed by the defendant. Complainant Hayes said that she hurt her hand due to being pushed into a car with the defendant, and that she felt pain. The complainant, McDaniel, then stated that she confronted the defendant to see if her friend getting assaulted by the defendant. The defendant then started swinging and struck the back of Daniel's head, and that complainant felt pain as well. Complainant Powell then stated that she was assaulted by the defendant due to also trying to defend her friend, complainant Hayes. Complainant Powell them to confront the defendant, and the defendant just started swinging and that she got struck by the defendant. Complainant Powell stated that she was not recall how that she was hit, but that she felt pain. Complainant Martin stated that she knows the defendant from school and they both attend TSU. The complainant Martin stated that she was trying to calm the defendant down but does not remember the physical assault due to her being knocked out unconscious by the defendant. Complainant Martin felt pain. A witness stated that she saw the whole incident and saw that the defendant was arguing with complainant Hayes and that the defendant started pushing complainant Hayes into a vehicle. Complainant Martin was then trying to de-escalate the situation and stated that when she saw complainant Martin get struck by the defendant and get knocked unconscious for approximately 2 minutes.
Is that number 3 or 2?
That's 4.
That's the 4th.
That's 4th, Your Honor. The witness then stated that she saw the defendant punch complainant Martin on the left side of the face. The defendant and the patient with the complainant ended up being and pushing them away. The complainant 2 had a knot on the back of her head. Complainant 3 had a small swelling on the left side of her face. And complainant 4 had small swelling under her left eye and was transported to the hospital due to being unconscious.
All this happens at TSU?
It is. It was a party. Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Martin, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm now barring you from going to TSU.
Yes, sir.
I'm barring you now from going to TSU. I'm also ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with any of the complaining witnesses in this case, not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, not to be in possession of weapons. If I find that you're a danger to my community, I will do everything in my power to take you off the street. Do you understand?
Sir, I understand. May I ask what this bar?
You work? I'll have you fill out an application. Deputy Miranda will give you an application. I'll see whether you qualify for an appointed lawyer. I'm going to have you sign a receipt with Victoria. Then I'll have you meet with Felicia for your bond conditions. Life is way too short to sit in a box that's 6 by 9, man. Keep my city safe. Otherwise, it's going to go sideways real quick. You understand?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Okay, come on.
Thank you. I'll go.
If you are new to my channel, please subscribe as I edit these cases and remove all of the mundane, boring, repetitive stuff. And I even remove the silences, so you get only the juicy bits, which I think are always the best bits. Are looking for another episode that has all the boring stuff cut out and gives you just the good stuff, then here a couple that may interest you. Enjoy.